Hi, it's Marianne, the Frugal Chef. I have a little recipe here for refried beans, and I want to show you how I make my refried beans. They're very, very good. I make them for, burritos and anything that the kids want, tacos, but they're especially good for a dip. Now, the only thing I want to ask is all those staunch, refried bean makers, don't get upset if this doesn't look like the ones you make, and please don't write me any hate mail. It hurts my feelings. I get these comments on these especially the Mexican food I make, and it's like, oh my gosh, that's how I make it. If you don't like it, don't insult me. Anyway, I hope you like this. So we're going to use a pressure cooker today to make our beans. In the altitude up here, water boils at a lower temperature. So it takes longer for things to cook. So pressure cookers are used a lot over here. These are nice. This one's a nice and big one. The way this works, you have a lid that has a rubber seal on it. So when we cover it, it's going to seal everything in there. And it has a little bell, if you want, on top. When it starts boiling, it's going to start going like this. I'll show you. One important thing, once this is boiling and pressurized, please, 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 please don't touch it. If you want to go ahead and open it, or you take the little bell off the, off the lid like this or whatever, you're going to have an accident. It's going to explode. You're going to have food on your ceiling, burn yourself, so very much caution, okay? So for our beans, what I did is I soaked a pound of black beans last night. Overnight. I washed them really well, just covered them in water and soaked them. So I'm just going to put them in this pan, in this pressure cooker with all the liquid that they soaked in. I don't have jalapenos here, but I do have locoto. I'm going to make a video to show you. We make a little, like a salsa if you want. We don't eat tortillas down here, but we eat it with bread. It's always at the table. So since I don't have a jalapeno, I'm going to use this chili. If you can get jalapenos, go ahead and use a jalapeno. I'm only going to use one, but if you want it spicier, you could use up to 3 if you want it. Typically what I'll do is leave all the seeds and the membrane in here, just cut the stem off and put it in the pot. But I'm going to have kids eating this today, so I don't want it to be that spicy. So what I'm going to put in this pot is, I have a very small yellow onion, which I coarsely chopped. Don't worry about chopping it too much, because with the pressure and all the boiling, it's going to disappear in there. I have cilantro here. I cut the stems. Don't throw away your stems. Stems are loaded in flavor. So that's awesome. I have, I don't know, I'm going to say 2 tablespoons here maybe. You can't see them, but I have about 4 garlic cloves that are minced here, and 1 of those chilies, which I just coarsely chopped. So I'm just going to put all this in my pot. I'm going to put a tablespoon of cumin in here, half a tablespoon of black pepper, and let's go ahead and be generous with our salt. So I don't know, tablespoon and a half maybe of salt. Now, I want to show you this. There's liquid here, and it's barely covering the beans. I'm going to add more liquid to this. I'm going to probably add another 2 cups. And the reason for that is these are going to hydrate in there. And also, I don't want the water to dry out, and then we end up with burned beans. On the other hand, I don't want too much water in here, because we're going to refry them, and we don't need to have all that liquid. So here's this pot. It's been cooking for about 30 minutes. I think it's ready. We're going to go ahead and let it cool down. But as I told you, you hear that little hiss. That's the pressure in there. Now what I'm going to do is turn off the heat, and I'm going to let this cool, for a few minutes. Then I'm going to put it underneath some running cold water until it's completely cooled down. And when I move that little, that little top there, there's no more steam coming out or anything, then I'll open it and we'll go ahead and process our beans. I'm going to pour some vegetable oil into this skillet. Let that heat for a minute. I went ahead and pureed my beans. I put them in the food processor and just pureed them, processed them. Now I'm just going to add them to my hot oil. So we want this to dry up a little bit. you know, fry. You can of course make this with kidney beans as well if you would prefer. I like black beans, so I made it with black beans. So I'm going to add about 1/4 cup of cream to this. And about 1/2 cup of shredded cheese. I'm going to re-season it a little bit with salt. I tasted it needed a little more. So, and now I'm just going to mix this. Okay guys, you serve this in a bowl with some tortillas with that chipotle spicy salsa that I have a video of at your next little get together. I promise you, everybody's going to be very happy. That's it. Now I'm just going to turn off the heat. And this is ready. So, there you go, my friends. Refried beans or bean dip from thefrugalchef.com. Come and see us. We have all kinds of recipes that are not in video form, especially now that I haven't been making a lot of videos. All kinds of stuff. Eat well, my friends, without going broke. I'll see you guys soon.